So has our quest for spirituality. This program may help you find your path to enlightenment.
Hello and welcome to Light Quest. I'm Eric Johnson and we're glad to see you here this week. As always, we'd love to hear from you, our viewers, about the shows that you've been watching and about some future show content, possibly. So you can always write to us, Light Quest, Box 20474, New York City 10025, or you can send us email. We're on a website. The website address is http://lightsong.com, and that's a metaphysical website, and we are some subcategory of that. So after you dial up lightsong.com, just look for Light Quest in that website. And on to today's show. Today we have Don Conroe, and he's the gong master. And he brought along a big gong for us to listen to and meditate on. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Harry.
And what is your title besides gong master? Or what is it that you practice?
Gong therapy.
Gong therapy.
Yes. The use of sound for healing.
Mm-hmm. And so what does that entail, and give us a little gong therapy 101 background information.
Well, let's take a look at this. If you can think of this gong as a nutritional vitamin, it has all the sound nutrients in it. And so when you feel the experience of it going through your body, it's really nourishing the cells of your body from a standpoint of fullness, because there's no holes between the notes. You get the sense of being in an ocean of sound, and your body, your cells, soaks it up. And you asked earlier what these two...
Yeah.
These are Mandarin Chinese. This means happiness has arrived. It's a Confucian saying, and it was put there by Gautama Buddha around 600 BC.
Okay.
By the disciples of Gautama Buddha.
So there's some relationship between this gong and Buddhist practice in China?
Well, that's true, and it's ironic that there is this problem now between Tibet and China.
Right.
And yet I think Buddha really put these on there to bring the Chinese and Tibetan people together, or the Buddhists together in unity. So the gong hasn't seen a fulfillment of that free Tibet and have a China that's open as well. I think this is what it stands for.
So is the gong popular in China outside of Buddhism, or is it?
Oh, it is everywhere in the world. Everywhere that there was a Bronze Age. In Africa, they know of gongs. In the Middle East, of course, going back maybe 5,000 years. In China and Bali and Burma, Turkey, Persia had the first gongs. All over the world. Of course, in Europe, the gongs are bells, and bells and gongs are just about the same thing.
Okay. So they always have some kind of spiritual significance, or?
That's the idea. This means happiness has arrived, or they say spiritualization of matter. That in some way or another it purifies and uplifts at the same time.
I just was thinking, while you're saying that, I was thinking of in Bali they have the instrument called the gamelan.
That's right.
Which is basically like a whole bunch of gongs.
That's right.
Spread out over different notes. I mean,
and they have a boss on them. They're tuned to a particular note for the orchestration.
So would you call those gongs?
Those are the real gongs.
That's like a gong orchestra.
Yes, and when you take away the boss, it's not a tuned gong anymore, so they call it a tam-tam, or a symphonic flat gong. I like the flat gongs because they put out the greatest power. There's about 100 instruments inside of one gong. And that's this is the powerful experience. It's almost like an engine of power rather than a musical instrument.
Also, I was just thinking now that we're talking about the gamelan, something similar happened in the West Indies with the steel drum.
Steel drums.
So would you call a steel drum a gong as well?
It is, yes, because it's struck from the outside. Of course, it's more like a real gong because it's tuned. It's many little gongs inside of a steel drum.
Okay, so it is even more universal than...
Insofar as you can play with other, with a tempered system of music. Of course, the gong is a different kind of music. There aren't intervals, and what it is really a projection of some psychic energy.
Okay.
Psychic, spiritual, psychological energy. And that's its idea. And out of this sound, sounds come. So the sounds come out of fullness rather than of emptiness.
Now, what you're saying reminds me of like the notion of Om, which is like meditational cosmic vibration used in the East, in Buddhism and Hinduism.
Yes.
But there's supposedly a relationship between the sound of Om and then the silence between it. Like if you're chanting it, there's like a beginning, middle, and end, which supposedly is like A-U-M.
That's right.
U, M.
Yes.
But then there's a fourth sound, which is the silence between the M and the A starting again.
That's
to start
right.
another. Like people think of Om as O-M, but it's also
A-U-M is the open,
right.
then close, and open and close. It
Right.
has that kind of pulsation. That's what the gong does. It
Right.
pulses Om out.
Okay.
I'll tell you a story that back in the turn of the century, from the 19th to the 20th century, there was a prediction that in the coming 21st century, most of the healing is going to be done through sound, a very special kind of sound, which is one recurring, pulsating chord that just bathes the person in that. And I think it's going to be something like a synthesizer that's evolved perhaps in a sense, but at present there's nothing that imitates the gong. There's no synthesizer, there are no speakers that can really hold it. It's like the most powerful sound in the universe, the Om.
Well, why don't we get into a little demonstration here? You're gonna
All right. Now this is the gong experience.
Okay. Did you want to do something here before we step over to the mat?
Yes. Or we can come back and, but let's do it here.
Yeah, let's do it here, as long as we're here.
I like to teach people how to play
Okay.
because it's all improvisation, it's all intuitive, because there's no sheet music here.
Right.
So you really get into a kind of a premeditative, pre-conscious, creative, flowing state, almost like a Tai Chi dancer would move with this, so that it's actually the feeling of the stroke as it touches the gong. And it's following this flow of chi. And you don't have to hit it hard, you can hit it fast and it'll build up like that.
Okay. So,
Go ahead.
just start banging away.
That's a powerful radiation that comes. That's the healing power of healers from their hands. It's that same energy that comes from there, and you can feel it. And of course, as it fades away, it takes you into that sound of Om, silent sound within. In fact, it kind of makes silence even more full in that way.
Is this tuned to like a particular note or frequency?
No, it has a general fundamental tone, I think an E, you know, like the long string on a guitar, so it can play with that. You see,
If
it's
it was
pounded,
a smaller,
yeah.
if it was a smaller gong, would it be a
A
different
little
note?
higher, yeah, higher note, I think. See, this is a gong within a gong. Actually, there are two gongs there. And as you were playing it, this gong and that gong were kind of mating in an acoustical space and creating children overtones,
Okay.
building, and building like that.
Do you ever play the outer edge?
Yeah, all over.
Okay.
You can find little different sounds. You can even play it like this. With your fingers. You can play it like a drum as well. There are different ways to play. But the main thing is that it makes you very humble when you play. You don't see many gong players with big egos because you play it for a little while and it just wipes you right out.
Right.
And it begins playing you. So it's this type of thing, a kind of like a purification process happens so that even though you might be a client that came for a healing or rejuvenation, I'm getting the same thing as you.
Right.
So it's a self-healing as well. It's making that available. So when you lie down on the floor,
Why don't we do that?
that'll be
Okay. So you can take your mic. I'll take off my mic.
And you take off your shoes if you like, too. I'm going to take my mic off.
Okay. Well, you can bring it over. Okay. So I'm going to lay down here and have some gong therapy. Right.
And because there are lights on here,
Yeah.
you put this over your eyes, give you a sense.
Yes. 4 is the right.
As you lie
4
there,
and 5.
totally relax, as though you were going to take a nap. And allow your thoughts to just flow. Let yourself relax
4
deeper
and
and deeper. And now, as though you're waking up after a long and deep sleep, bring your arms up into the air and stretch. And roll your wrists, relax your fingers. And now you can take Let me have your hand. And come up.
Okay.
That was your first experience with the gong.
Yeah, that's great. Felt like I was in a gong room. I guess it's the Amazon. Let me grab my mic. You have some other
We
instruments
do.
here.
Let me bring this over here,
Okay.
and we can take a look at these.
Okay.
These instruments, Eric, come from all over the world. They're played in all the temples.
Mm-hmm.
They're played, one of the first navigational tools
Mm-hmm.
were conchs to use to signal.
Mm-hmm.
Mountaineers use them to signal in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
They're also used for healing of blowing into the body the same way the gong is used, the same way. And it's a purification instrument.
Mm-hmm.
It's to purify.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like an animal.
Mm-hmm. It also started
Started the gong.
the gong vibrating.
Give it a try.
Okay, I'm not in no way an expert, but I'll give it a try.
Good.
Is that good? It's not easy, but
The gong picks it up though.
uh-huh.
You learn fast.
Okay.
And after a little while, I have about 7 different sizes of these,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can find the right note for the right person and
Mm-hmm.
play. But
So
these
this
are
is
also,
a healing tool.
it is, but they're also wonderful to improvise with, sacred tone improvisation.
Mm-hmm.
That's our group, Mysterious Tremendum, we call it.
Really?
Now, I'm supposed to explain what that means.
Okay.
Mysterium Tremendum was the name of a public initiation done by a man called Scriabin back in the 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is that everybody that came to see the show was an initiate that would undergo some sort of transformational experience. He called it dematerialize. And it was to connect them up with the nature spirits, with Mother Nature, with the animal spirits, to create that bond between humanity and the animal kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
So we took the name, instead of calling it Mysterium Tremendum, we call it Mysterious Tremendum.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea is to take all the music from different corners of the world and bring them together, integrate them, synergize them, spontaneous improvisation of spirit.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do. We feel that's the most healing thing, to unite differences to work together.
So where do you play? Where do you
Well,
showcase?
every Sunday we have a
Okay.
public gathering on Duane Street,
Mm-hmm.
and people show up around 8 o'clock, and we improvise till about 10.
Mm-hmm.
Some people come for healing, some people come to play, some people just come to watch.
Okay. While we're on that subject, what is some way that people can contact you if they're interested in some gong healing?
They can simply call us,
Okay.
and call us at 715-0682.
715-0682.
Our
That's-
call 633-0471.
Okay, so give us both numbers, and it's 212 area code?
212 and 633-0471.
633-0471.
Right. Or
Yeah.
715-0682.
715-0682.
82. Yeah.
And who are they calling when they're calling those numbers?
Don Conroe.
Okay.
Or Randy Reagan. Either
Okay.
one. We work together.
Okay.
Randy's wonderful on the bowls. She is extraordinary on them.
Okay.
And let me show you how they're played. In Tibet, the bowls are struck from the outside like gongs.
Okay.
You can also strike them underneath, like a gamelan. and then they're rimmed.
Mm-hmm. Now these are called what kind of bowls?
Singing bowls.
Singing bowls.
And these are used for healing.
Are they used in Tibetan Buddhism?
They are, but only struck from the outside.
Mhm.
Buddha had 3 of them. We don't know how he played them. There are no records. We know that they're played in Bhutan, other areas all over the world, the
Bhutan.
same way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
How about Ladakh?
Ladakh, yes, absolutely. And so they're wonderful.
Uh-huh. And let me ask you this. It reminded me of when you take a crystal, a glass crystal, and you have some liquid in it, and then you start putting your finger around
That's
the
right.
outside.
It works the same principle.
Hmm. Have you ever used that for healing?
Yes,
Yeah.
but this is called the hum line. And meditating just for a little while doing it or while lying down, you follow this hum line,
Mm-hmm.
and it takes you into deep meditation.
Okay.
And it goes on and on and on. But these are sacred objects. It's not kitchen objects.
Right.
They made these, it took a long time,
Mhm.
and the ancestral spirits are in here, and family spirits are in here, and great creative entities are hammered inside, so that it's really almost like a living being.
Mm-hmm.
They consider it to be a great guru,
Okay.
and that it kind of gives this energy of love to people.
So where did you study all this music making?
In the 60s,
Uh-huh.
I was actually in Beverly Hills, California, going to a yoga class, and a yogi from India had a gong, a bell, and a conch.
Mm-hmm.
And after very strong Kundalini Kriya yoga set, which I began teaching afterwards,
Who was the teacher?
Yogi Bhajan.
Okay.
Do you know him?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
That was in 1969.
Okay.
I immediately went out and got a gong like his,
Mm-hmm.
and I began teaching the yoga, and every day I play, either I'm listening to the gong or I'm playing the gong.
Mm-hmm. Do you still practice Kundalini yoga?
Well, I call what I teach now, it's been many, many years,
Mhm.
I call it gong yoga.
Mm-hmm.
And it's my version of using the Kriya yoga and the Kundalini yoga,
Mm-hmm.
mantra yoga and pranayama, putting it together in a way that people can do in a short period of time,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a minute, 3 minutes at a time throughout the day. I used to call it minute yoga.
Okay.
And it's just to rejuvenate yourself, I called it re-youth yourself, to bring yourself back into a fullness
Mm-hmm.
of tone.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the whole idea of our type of therapy, is that when you're really feeling full of tone, you don't have any holes in your eye, there is no disease in you,
Right.
there is no psychological darkness at all. It's all,
Mm-hmm.
life-giving.
I just want to grab one other thing here. In your little paperwork here, you have. Oh, where is the one with the? Oh, there it is. Sorry. Apologize to my audience for stepping on the
Oh, that's
shot
all
for
right.
a
I'll
second,
step
but
out
I want
too.
to just show or talk about what's going on here.
This is the universal greeting, Eric, and I was putting on a humanitarian concert in 1984, and some people came from China, from Japan,
Mm-hmm.
who were world servers. They were unknown, anonymous, and the head of the team, there were 5 of them, said, I channeled this over meditation in the morning and gave it to me. I gave it out to the great-grandnephew of Mahatma Gandhi, and he took it across the country, and I give it out around the world. And it's 9 simple gestures
Mm-hmm.
that can deliver a message telepathically The idea of the gong in this music is to develop telepathic resonance, to really to be in functional harmony. So that's the first one with the palms out. Is I offer you peace. I offer you friendship. I offer you love.
Okay, could you do that one more time?
I offer you peace. I offer you friendship. I offer you love. I hear your needs. I see your beauty. I feel your feelings. All wisdom flows from a higher source. I honor the source in you. Let us work together. You are my own true self.
That looks, one of the last gestures is very Chinese. The Chinese do that all the time, right?
Yes.
Is that what they mean?
I think so.
Which means something about, what is it?
In fact, people all over the world especially,
Uh-huh.
when politicians promise what they're going to do, they always do this too. It's a gesture of intent to really work together. Oh, here's the, this.
Oh, yeah, and
Yes.
that's...
See, they're dissemblers,
Uh-huh.
and they go together, and they function together. They don't have to be in tune.
Okay.
They all work together
Right.
as one.
So let me just give your information again. That's Don Conroe, and phone number if you want to reach him is 212-715-6852.
Oh, 6852, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I gave out the wrong number.
Sorry.
6852.
Okay, 212-715-6852. That's Don Conroe, the Gong Master. And thank you for being with us.
Thanks, Eric.
We enjoyed it
you.
and felt some healing vibrations. Watch us again next week. This is Light Quest. I'm Eric Johnson, wishing you love and light. See you next week. And please write to us or send us an email.
New York 10025. Now that's P.O. Box 20474, New York, New York 10025.